So a friend of mine, or a daughter of a friend of mine, recently messaged me on IG, kind of telling me what she's going through in her, in her spiritual life. She was talking to me about my recent vlog, "Don't Lose Focus on God," and she was telling me, it's hard to not lose focus on God because she's so young and she goes on Twitter and she has lots of homework and things like that. So it kind of keeps her away from focusing on God. She says she doesn't feel very close to God and to Christ. She doesn't feel very close, or she doesn't feel involved, or she doesn't feel like she's doing enough for Christ. She doesn't feel as if it's an intimate relationship. She's a gamer, by the way. She's a gamer. Her name is Crafty Paris. If you guys have heard of her, she's, I think, on Twitch or YouTube. I don't know. I'm not really a gamer, so I don't know about gaming and things like that. But she feels as if she's not close enough to God, or that she's not doing enough for God, and so she feels like her relationship with God is not very good. Recently, I'm gonna kind of go off topic here. Recently, I met a friend, and from work, he works with me at the house that I'm demolishing in Chicago, and he told me a couple of things. We started talking. He said that he's homeless. He's 18. He jumps from places here and places there and trying to find somewhere to sleep. He has a daughter, but her daughter's mom is very mean to him and trying to take away his daughter from him. And so because we opened up to each other, me and my friend, we found a connection with each other. We became friends. He told me about his belief in Christ and belief in God, and I'm trying to see what I can do for him. I'm trying to see if I can find him somewhere to stay or somewhere to sleep. I'm trying to see if I can get him a car. But the thing is, this total stranger whom I didn't know, we became friends because we were so open with each other, and we started talking and we started communicating. So we became kind of close at a pretty small amount of time because we were talking to each other, because we were so open with each other, and we told each other our backgrounds and things like this. And now we're pretty good friends. And so I feel like we don't do this with Christ. I feel like sometimes we don't take the time to get to know Christ. And we feel like we don't have this relationship, this bond with Christ, because we don't really get to know him. Right? So we'll talk about that in a little bit. Right now we're going to church. It is the Sabbath, so we're going to church. I'm going to be a little bit late, so I'll see you guys in a little bit.
Happy Sabbath from the Elmhurst Seventh-day Adventist Church community.
So I just got out of church and got in this morning. I went to Sabbath school, and we were talking about things. We were talking about why is it that most of the youth are not baptized yet, and they were born in the church, but they're not baptized. And I wish I could take this camera and vlog about these things, the things that me and the youth talk about in the Sabbath schools, because they say a lot of interesting things. But the thing is, they're very, very shy when it comes to like being recorded on camera. So I don't record them. Most of them. Some of them are not too shy, but most of them are very, very shy when it comes to recording their conversations about these things, about what they believe. It's very interesting. It's very interesting because these guys, the youth at church, most of the youth at church, at any church, they are in there. They were born in the church, and most of them, they don't get baptized because it's because they don't have a close relationship with God. And I think that it's because a lot of us, when we're adults, we force these things. We force them what to believe. We force into them what to believe, and we don't make them make their own decisions and things like that. But it's very, very hard. You know what I mean? because you want your children to grow up believing in these things, but at the same time you can't really force it on them, and it doesn't ruin their relationship with God, but it kind of takes a back seat, because they feel as if like they have to learn about God and they can't do it on their own, because they're being forced to believe this thing based on borrowed experiences from their parents. They grow up like kind of like not like knowing these things, knowing the truth, but they grow up kind of not believing in it because they don't want it. They don't want it to be like, I believe in it because my parents said so, or I believe in it because one of my elders said so. I believe that they're trying to look for an experience on their own, an experience with God on their own. I was talking to these the youth at my church, and one of them came out and said, I think it's just we don't get baptized and we don't have a close relationship with Christ because we don't believe, even though they know that it's the truth. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like it's the truth, but believing is something so different. It's something, just believing comes with actions. For a long time, I knew that smoking cigarettes was bad for me. Okay, I knew this, but I didn't apply it to me, because I did not believe that it was, that I was in bad condition. I also wasn't a Christian at the time, so I didn't believe in the power of God, that God can give me the power to say no to cigarettes. But when I had the experience, when I started experiencing that cigarettes are bad for me, and the experiences are like coughing and getting dizzy and getting so much more emotionally vulnerable when I smoke. And sometimes you get a very different kind of high when you smoke. When you smoke too much, you get you get this feeling like you're about to vomit. So when I started experiencing these things, then I started to believe that, yeah, maybe these cigarettes are bad for me. I need to stop smoking. One of the youth said it's kind of the same thing, like the truth, what the Bible says, that is the truth, but when you believe, it's something different. Believing that truth is something different, because believing means that you're compelled to take action. Get what I'm saying? And when action is taking place, now they have a choice to say goodbye to whatever sin they love and start doing things that they don't want to do. And so I think there is that barrier there, and it's interesting talking to the youth about this. And it's always the youth, it's always the youth. And I believe that the devil is targeting the youth, because remember in Revelation 17, it says that the devil, the serpent called the devil and Satan, his whole target is to get the offspring of the church. What is the offspring? The offspring are always the children. We as adults, we know now, we know what we believe, and we know that we should believe this, and we know that we should take actions. But with the youth, it's different. They know the truth, but they choose not to believe it, because believing means they have to take action. They have to do something. They have to get baptized, and they're going to have to say goodbye to the sins, or to the things that they like to do, the bad things that they like to do. And so there's a question. The question is, how then do you get close to Jesus Christ? How do you get close to God? How do you break through that barrier and get closer to God, get closer to Christ? How does that happen? We'll talk about that in a little bit.
Good.
What'd you do today?
Nothing.
Nothing?
Nothing.
Why?
Because.
Because what?
Because.
Okay, well, we're going to go home and eat. All right?
No.
Yes. We're not going to swim. Oh, you want to swim in there?
No.
You don't want to sit and relax with me?
No, I want to go to a real park.
This is a real park.
No, it's not. If it's a real park, then we want to play. Then we want the slides and the swing.
Give me a kiss. I don't know where the slides and the swings are. But we can go later.
No.
You don't want to go later?
No.
There's the slide and the swings over there.
I want to go right now.
Want to go right now? Okay, come on. Give me a kiss then. You can do it. Come on. Come on.
myself.
Okay, do it all by yourself. Go. So how do you get closer to someone? To anyone. It doesn't matter who it is. I'm not even talking about just God, but anyone in general. How do you get closer to them? How do you build a relationship with them? You talk to them. You get to know their story. Like I said before, I met this guy who's 18 years old. He has a daughter, and his daughter's mom being mean to him, right? And he's homeless right now, and he's bouncing from place to place. He doesn't know. Sometimes he doesn't know where he's gonna end up and to sleep. But I learned his story. I learned his background. I started talking to him and learned everything about him. Well, not everything, but learned a few things about him. And we became friends, and we became kind of close. And now I wanna be able to do something for him. I want to be able to give him all the help that I can give him. And so I believe that learning someone's story and listening to them is a great way for us to get close to people. Doesn't matter who it is. And so we can apply this same thing with Christ. I believe that learning someone's story, like fully, learning someone's story. Well, for me, I knew the truth for 8 years, but I didn't get baptized until 3 years ago. You know what I'm saying? But I knew the truth I knew the truth for more than 8 years. I knew about Jesus Christ dying for me, but I didn't really understand it because I didn't really fully dug into the story myself and see the mechanics of salvation. Like, how does it work? What do you mean Christ died for me? Okay, so what does it mean to me? You know what I mean? And so I believe that in order for us to get close to Christ, to have that bond and that relationship with Christ and with God, his Father, is to fully understand the gospel. And I believe that most of the youth, they know what it is. That God, sent his only begotten son. His son died for us. Okay, cool. But they don't fully understand it, right? They don't dig in there, and they don't visualize what it is why is it so important. To God, to Jesus Christ, this is life and death. This is a risk that he took. He was risking his eternal life for us. And I don't think some of the youth understand this. You know what I mean? Me and my daughter, we were playing hide and seek a long time ago. It was just me and her in the house. We were playing hide and seek, right? And so it was my turn to hide, and it was her turn to count. I hid behind the table and in the kitchen. And when she was, going around trying to look for me, I think it was like 2 minutes to maybe 5 minutes took her to go around the house and try to look for me, screaming my name, Papi, Papi, where are you? And she went into the kitchen. She didn't know that I was behind the table, but she went into the kitchen. She was screaming out for me. And next thing you know, she fell on her butt. Like, she just gave up. She fell on her butt and she started crying. Like, you could see her lips just quivering, you know what I mean? Like, searching for me because she started crying because she thought that I abandoned her. And I felt like my heart was broken. You know what I mean? And I felt heartbroken because this hide and seek game caused her to have quivering lips searching for me. You get what I'm saying? It's heartbreaking to see my daughter cry because she thought that I abandoned her there in the house alone. I wanted to cry as well. And so I got up, I ran towards her, I hugged her, and I said, hey, look, I'm here. Why are you crying? You know what I mean? No, we're just playing a game. And the thing that she says next is the thing that really broke my heart. She said, Papi, I don't want to play hide and seek anymore. Because she hates the feeling that, she hates the feeling or thinking that I abandoned her. And at that time, it kind of flashed me back to what I was reading with Jesus Christ. When Jesus Christ says, my God, why hast thou forsaken me? Forsaken means to abandon. My God, why have you abandoned me? He was alone on that cross. Quivering lips. I could only imagine what was going on. You know what I mean? Like, it was as if Christ was telling me, look, what your daughter went through in that 5-minute time frame, is a small version, a very, very tiny version of what I went through on the cross for you. You get what I'm saying? And when the youth can finally understand this, I believe that you really have no choice. Well, I mean, it's not that you don't have a choice, but it kind of compels you to want to do something. You know what I mean? Jesus says, if I be lifted up, I will draw all men unto me. Jesus Christ is attractive enough. The gospel is attractive enough when it is understood correctly. And that will be the spark to start a relationship between whoever in Jesus Christ. We can get closer to Jesus Christ by finding out his story. And we can only do that by reading the gospel. Thank you guys for watching. And if you guys have any more questions, please comment them down below. I will try my best to answer them. And if you guys like and were blessed by this Bible study video or this vlog, please don't forget to like and share. Share with your friends, your family, your coworkers, your relatives, anyone who you know would be blessed by this video. And if you guys are new to this channel and want more Christian content, please subscribe to this channel and make sure you guys hit the bell. And if you guys want to support this online video ministry and want to keep this ministry afloat, please don't forget to pray for this online video ministry and donate at schoolforprophets.tv, and we will take the donation money and advertise these videos so that we can reach more people. Thank you guys again. Praise God always, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.